Hi, and welcome to the Leader's Edge, our weekly live interview show where Georgia Donaldson and I,
Good morning.
Emily Chua, hey Georgia, we feature successful CEOs and professionals who are so kind to share their stories with us. We want to bring you awareness, inspiration, and leadership tips for you to action so that you sharpen your competitive advantage and make a positive impact in your organization and community. Remember, if you are watching us live, you can leave a comment on LinkedIn for any of the speakers to address. And if you're watching the replay, comment replay so we'll know that you stopped. Today, we have an intriguing topic for you: the death of meetings. We have with us Ann-Marina White. I know. We have with us Ann-Marina White, the Executive Director of CETAL, and she's going to give us some of her unique insights on this topic. As usual, Georgia will introduce Anne Marina in a short while. But before we do that, I want you to give us a vote in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is high. How effective are your meetings at work? I'm curious if you voted 5 or less, then you definitely want to stick around to hear what Anne Marina is going to share with us. So, Georgia, let's begin.
Okay, it's wonderful having you this morning, Ann-Marina. It's a special pleasure. We've been waiting a while to hear from you on this fascinating topic of the death of meetings. I think we all knew that we're going to a requiem mass this morning, so we came in black.
You should have said I would have dressed appropriately.
You have pieces of the black because meetings as we know it, Anne Marina says no more of that. And who is Anne Marina White? Some of you may know her as a former teacher. Others know her as that lovely wife and mother. And most persons now may know her as the entrepreneur because she has that in her bloodline, entrepreneurship. And she is the executive director of CETAL College. And Marina, you have a fascinating story that talks about how you came into entrepreneurship. And because you came into entrepreneurship and you've seen how people have been meeting, you have a shift in meetings. So tell us how you started into business and then move into meetings.
Thanks, Georgia and Emily, for that lovely introduction. Death of meetings. Well, let me start with my foray into education and into business. So, I come from a family where the background was in business and education. On my mother's side, there were teachers and business people. And that's where the sort of career paths took people, right?
Mhm.
So I actually have my training and education in science. And I became a science teacher at the secondary level, and I stayed there for quite some time. But during that period in 1992, my parents, who were also teachers, decided that they were going to not continue working in this space. I mean, because they went through various incarnations of entrepreneurship and so on, but they settled on establishing the school. And it was an opportunity to marry my parents' love for teaching and my father's passion for the airline industry. He worked in the airlines for quite a number of years. What they decided to do is that they opened a travel agency. And then from there, they found that a number of travel agents were having a lot of problems securing well trained staff. And that's when they started teaching
Mhm.
airline reservations and so on. And then my mother, who really had the entrepreneurial streak in her, decided that she would open a school. So she went to the Ministry of Education, got the various permissions, went through the process, and that's when the School of International Travel and Languages was born.
Aha.
I was
That's
part
very
of,
There we go. So
cool.
yeah,
that's where we got the
that's
SITAL.
correct. That's where CETAL comes from, right?
Right.
So I was teaching at the time, but I also was instrumental in opening the school with her. So both of us got our heads together. We
Mhm.
opened the school. We got languages taught, travel and tourism taught, and that went on for quite some time.
Yeah.
For 5 years. And then I decided I was going to leave my job as a teacher because
Mhm.
that sort of passion for training on a different scale, that passion for engaging with people, sharing my knowledge got the better of me. And that's when I went into the school. And my role was basically to expand the curriculum, to get new teachers on board, to foster collaborations with external partners. So I was director of studies at the time in 1992, and I learned new skills. I learned new competencies. I went into travel and tourism. I did my training there and so on, in addition to my first degree and my master's. And I really enjoyed teaching at a different level. So that's it. My
Wow.
mother's passion actually was, I think I inherited that love for people, for sharing information, for sharing knowledge. She was a very generous person. And I'd like to think that some of what she's left still resides in me.
Ah, that's wonderful. So that journey took you through hundreds of meetings, thousands of meetings. And we can imagine it's through that journey where you started to reframe meetings. So talk to us now about that new journey that you're on regarding meetings.
Yes. So I have a funny little thing about me where I don't like certain words. And I don't like certain words in the business context and even in our personal lives because some of these words really create a negative mindset, a mindset of paucity, a mindset of struggle, a mindset of the world is falling down around me. And my staff know that very often I say, okay, we're not using this word this year. Take that word out of your vocabulary, find something to replace it with.
Right.
One of the words was problems. And I'm not going to go into the whole story about
Yeah.
why we eliminated problems for a year, the word problems, and then now problems has the word problems has been eliminated from the vocabulary of my staff. We have situations, we have issues, we have challenges, and then they come to me not with a problem, but they come to me with an issue that they have already thought through and they have a solution or proposed
Right.
solution. Right? So we have that little history.
Excellent.
Um, so
Love
in
it.
That's
terms so in terms of the meetings
good.
now, we
Yeah.
have had,
Sorry,
as you say,
Emily.
That,
sorry,
that's how
Emily.
you start. That's how you started off with reframing your words
Yes.
in the
Correct.
context of organization. And yes, you're going on to meetings now. So
Right.
Yes.
tell us about the death of meetings.
The death of meetings. I just find this intriguing. I told Georgia that I was going to talk about elimination, and she said elimination is the same as death. I said, okay, I'll go along with your terminology.
Love it.
So in terms of that, so I actually really was finding that the meetings that we were sort of having were just going on and on, and in very many cases the staff was so focused on writing the notes, and this one said this and that one suggested that and so on, that the focus was on the notes and not on the impact of the meeting. And we were getting all these lovely reports and notes and whatever. And I would say, okay, so what did we take away? What were the main, learnings that you got out of this conversation? And I would get 2 paragraphs back. And I said, no, no, no. Just give me 2 bullets. What did you learn? And it was difficult for staff to articulate that because there was just so much going on in their heads
Right.
during the
Yes.
meeting. Um, anyway, so that had me thinking, and I said, you know what? This word or this meeting isn't reflecting purpose. And purpose is another one of the buzzwords that we use,
Yes.
right? Everything you have to do should be purposeful, it must be intentional, you must know what you're coming to talk about, and you
Right.
must know what outcomes you want out of these conversations.
Yes.
We said, all right, so what we will do is that we will change that and we would have staff come to talk about very specific things. You have 2 points or 3 points you want to make. Let us come and have a conversation around that. I just want to flip back a little bit to something about meetings that people think is useful and it actually is not. The research has shown that when people brainstorm, create ideas, and discuss at meetings, it is actually less productive than if somebody sits by themselves and thinks through ideas, comes
Mm-hmm.
up with ideas, and then writes those down. We refine, and then we come to the meeting to add value to those ideas.
Okay. Okay.
So this one of the things, the misconceptions I've found about meetings is that we think that brainstorming is a good idea at meetings. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
you
look
have
at
to have
that.
culture. Sorry? Huh? Huh?
No,
Sounds like you're coming back.
I feel like we have to look. Yeah, we have. To, but
Yeah,
okay.
sounds like you're
Yes,
coming back, Anne Marina, for us to go down that road.
yes, yes.
Yes.
So you're saying okay. So what you've been saying so far is that meetings for you, the reason you wanted to reframe and change this idea is that it wasn't working for the company. You
Right.
weren't getting value from the meetings. You were the meetings became a meeting a thing upon itself as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
something actionable. And
Yes.
and what did you go towards?
I
Yes.
moved towards, yes, good question. So I moved towards, first of all, a different terminology for those conversations we were having. So they were
Right.
Right.
not meetings, they were conversations. So
Mm-hmm.
we moved towards workshops. So if we wanted the staff to learn a new skill or there was a new process being introduced, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about me or the manager standing in front of the staff and saying, okay, from now on, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do it. Any questions, etc. So what we do, we would change that into a workshop focus. So they
Okay.
come together, they come with their laptops or their pens and paper and so on, and we actually go through execution of that process right there.
Right.
So it didn't become a meeting, it became a workshop, right?
Right.
And these are not
Yeah,
new
because there's a
ideas,
specific focus for it.
there's a specific focus. So
Right.
these are not new ideas, it's just replacement things. So I
Right.
don't have this concept of a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We have huddles. So a manager may decide, I just want to touch base with my team for 15 minutes this
Mm-hmm.
morning to make sure, and everybody does huddles. But we tend
Right.
to see somebody calls on the phone, okay, can I speak to Marcia? Or Marcia is in a meeting. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcia is actually having a conversation with her manager. So we use meetings for such a
Yes.
broad range of conversations, it does not convey purpose. We have
That
things
is
like
true.
wig sessions, wildly important goals. There are sessions that we do to identify a very, very specific outcome that we want. And these
Mm-hmm.
wig sessions are usually quite short, half an hour, 40 minutes. We have
Mm-hmm.
presentations, and I love presentations because the presentations are not by only management. If a
Right.
staff has an idea that they brainstormed somewhere else, they've
Mm-hmm.
pitched to their manager, the manager says, okay, I think it's a wonderful idea. Let us talk about it. Let us
Share
flesh it
that now
out.
with others.
Now let's call the staff. So we have a staff meeting or staff
Mhm.
conversation, and we put two people to pitch their ideas. So there are
But it's a
huddles.
presentation. You call it a
It is a
presentation.
presentation.
So they know
Right.
they're coming to present and it's about an idea and it's not. So I think what these words are causing, as you said earlier, and Marina, is it's communicating the intent behind each meeting or
Mm-hmm.
each reason to come together as
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
and and in so doing it's is it making it more effective, like
Right.
what have you found that is both sides, pros and cons, what have you been finding
Yeah.
with this
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
experiment?
have your employees been saying about it?
Yeah.
Well, yes. So two things. I like George's question as well.
Mm-hmm.
For Emily, um, there are more pros actually than cons
That's okay.
because it allows more people to have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
our conversations are very round table conversations. So it's not like me standing in front of the team and everybody facing me.
Mm-hmm.
We specifically have arrangements where they are round table or people sit in their little groups and they chat and so on.
Mm-hmm.
The advantages to me is that everybody gets an opportunity to say what they think. They have a voice. People are no longer afraid to speak. So we have
Mhm.
even new members of staff who we would say, what do you think about this? Do you have any questions?
Mhm.
I think too, it really provides an opportunity for people who have silent ideas to get those ideas out there,
Right.
right? Because it's not, staff meetings are not about managers or directors talking to staff.
Mhm.
It's a presentation, it's a workshop, it's a week session, it's a check.
Mhm.
Well, we have small check-ins, right? So there are many more pros than cons. I
Yes, yes.
haven't figured out any cons as yet.
Okay,
To be
okay.
quite
Oh,
honest.
that's fine.
Not
That's
yet.
fine. I just wanted to be
That's good.
balanced.
Yes.
Yes.
And I mean, it sounds like the safety you've built in is it because of the approach. And I'm asking, I'm getting this from you, and I'm just also asking to clarify. So,
Mhm.
because of the approach, is it that that is what is causing the change of behavior in the staff that you're seeing,
Mhm.
where they're no longer feeling they're told, and
Mhm.
they have to like listen, like old classroom style almost.
Yes.
But because it's just somehow by changing the way you approach, you all have approached it, it's causing more collaboration. It's
Yes.
Mhm.
As
naturally
we talk about
causing that.
engagement.
Yes.
Is
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
and yes, and that's what I think, George's question made me think about. There is a style, there's a culture called the regenerative business culture, and I'm sure many people have heard about that.
Mhm.
One of the most attractive things about the regenerative business culture is that it creates the opportunities for self-organized teams, right? So a manager may have two or three groups of people who do very specific things in their department. What these meetings are creating, it's strengthening those self-organized teams. So I'll give you a quick example, and this actually answers George's question about the engagement and how people feel valued in their teams, right? So right now there is a group of staff in what we call the business units, our undergrad and postgrad, called course advisors. The course advisors are the people who speak to potential students about, what is the best course and so on for them to
Yeah.
do. And what we've been doing is that we have been pulling the course advisors together in the absence of their manager. And earlier I would have said when we just met that in our pre-meeting chat was that I believe that leadership is not about quibbling about whether you're sitting in the boardroom or you're sitting at a manager's executive meeting or you're in the weeds. I don't consider things like in the weeds at all. Our job is to be every and anywhere there is a need. So what I do currently is I work with those course advisors and building a self-organized team by
Mhm.
creating the opportunity for every one of those course advisors to have a voice, to say how they feel, what they want to do, how they would address certain pain points. If they were in charge, I ask them these things. And
Mhm.
we take that on board. We, I am with them for a few weeks. And from this week, they are now going to work on their own. So they're going to rotate leadership within that little group. They're going
Mhm.
to ask the same questions I've been asking. I'm leaving them to work for 2 weeks on their own. And then I have a check in the third week. So
Mhm.
the thing about these conversations and huddles and wig sessions and so on is that they are empowering staff. There's
Right.
rotational leadership, higher engagement, better happiness. They come to meetings smiling
Yes. Yes.
that's great.
That
and
sounds
they
good.
leave smiling as well. And that's what you want because at the end of the day, the people who work with you and for you
Mhm.
are people who have the same ambitions that you have.
Mhm.
True.
They have children, they want to pursue university, they want to build a house, they want to get a
Mhm.
car. And they also, in addition to those things, they want to feel valued, they want to
Yes.
feel
Always.
respected, they want
Yes.
to feel that the organization wants to develop them. And you
Mhm.
can't do that by a top down approach.
Right.
Traditional meetings just don't cut it for me anymore. And I'm not going to go back.
Please
Awesome,
don't. Please
Ann-Marina.
don't.
So, Georgia, I'm
Yes.
watching the time, and
Listen.
It's time for
But
us
guess
to
what I
take.
wanted to
Sorry.
say? That's what I wanted to say because I know people who get the hives and who start getting butterflies when they think of the next meeting that they have because of the pressure that they face. They should be listening to this and they should be watching this. So it's going
Yeah,
to be on the replay for people to catch that.
yeah,
I can tell you that I've been in that situation too. I've had meetings where you think you're going to pass out just because you know what you're going to face in that meeting. Yes.
Yeah, there's
So
a
it's so
fear.
important. Yes, yes. But I've been also spoiled by being a member of Toastmasters International, where each
Mm,
meeting, you know exactly what's going to happen in the meeting. The meeting is timed, respect people's time. So there is a different way of doing meetings. And Marina, we really appreciate hearing from you. So
no,
over to you,
thank you.
Emily, to
oh,
close.
well, I wanted to say, in terms of the call to action, then, I mean, it should be obvious by now
Yes.
that you should consider, you know, having this requiem mass for the meetings, right? And no longer should you be having meetings, but think about conversation. Think
Hmm.
about the purpose of those conversations. What
Yeah.
is the intention that you want behind it? And, you know, Ann-Marina shared many tips about how you
Mhm.
can position these ideas
Yes.
in your teams. So start with your team. And if you're head of an organization and you find this interesting, well, why
Go
not
for
try
it.
it?
Go for
Why
it.
not try it?
Mhm.
Yes, you might cause some disruption, but it might be good disruption because this
Yes.
some disruption is very necessary in
Mhm.
our world today. So,
Yes.
Ann-Marina, thank you very much. I hope this,
We're happy to
our
have
audience
you.
will take on some of these calls to action. This is
Yes.
exciting. This is
Yes.
exciting.
So I'm glad I had an opportunity to share and share my email address with people because I
Mhm.
do really think I can have a chat with them if they want some ideas
Mhm.
and so on. I'm very happy to have a conversation. I'm not into coaching and training and development myself, but having a very simple conversation on some of the ideas and how they work for me.
Right.
But listen to your staff, listen to the
Mhm.
pain points, go down on the ground, I would say, and hear what they are recommending because the best ideas come from your team. The best ideas come from your team.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks very much for having me, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Emily and Georgia.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.